Hello and welcome everybody to the 30K Eternal Clash brought to you by Challenger Mode. I'm your host Casanova, and joining me today is MOTF Games. How's it going, buddy? How you feeling about the games today?
Hey man, I'm doing pretty well. I'm actually really excited. We've got some pretty nice lobbies looking here. Expecting some really high quality gameplay with a nice character diversity going in.
Yeah, I am very excited for the character diversity and just the players overall. I want to be able to jump in for a second and take a look at some of these players. Gonna just jump over to the lobby list real quick in the scoring method. We got Homecoming, we got Ninja listed, that's Magnus, Ape, we got Passant, Lawcastle, Rat Jammer, Suddenly Rats, and taking a look at the scoring system real quick. It is pretty weighted heavily towards a lot of placement, but kills being 3 points means they're still gonna mean a lot overall over the course of the games. But first place getting 16 points, second 12, third 10th. I mean, it does ramp down quite a bit to the 0 points at 17th and 18th.
Yeah, no, for sure. This is going to be one of those lobbies where you're not exactly going to be able to just play for placement. Kills are going to make sure that's what you're enabled to move on to the next round. And because of that, I'm hoping to see a little more aggressive picks from these people. Not to say that tanks can't survive, but you would just need much more consistent play than you might be able to give.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like this is not quite cycling through like I would want it to, so I'm going to jump back to us. But we are going to be having these games starting very shortly. The lobbies are filling out completely. And I mean, I'm just ready to get into some of these games, just continuing down that lobby list. We got Yeedom, Lily Dongo, Superior, Averse, Karma K. We've got an actor that is paid, Bin Bins, Teska, Tony Evolved, Parallax, Rengar Oscar, and Sleeping Lion. But of this overall list, what players are most standing out to you, Motif?
Well, the players that are most standing out to me are going to be Avarice, of course, being a fan favorite. He is rank 1 in a extremely strong. Passant, as well as an extremely good Rosie player. Homecoming, though, the fan favorite. Everybody loves him. We all can't wait to see him do well, though. The biggest one for me is Rengar Oscar. He is the only Fiora player in this lobby that I know of, and it just has really good pop-off games. And I'm getting the word that we're ready to get going.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to be jumping into game in just a second here. Looks like the start has been called, and we're going to be jumping straight on in. Game number 1 of the semifinals. Going to be starting in just a moment as we get into this one. We got a couple Emmas, couple Cicellas like we talked about earlier on, but also a couple Heart players here. We got Yeedom and Bin Bins, both going to be Enad Heart players. I know there is Wumbo kind of floating around that last Amp Heart, the last bastion of Amp Heart that we see kind of hanging out. Not going to be in this lobby, but a lot of Heart success in yesterday's games that Krona and I were casting.
That's actually pretty interesting because in our lobbies with Michael, we had 0 hearts. So it's nice to just see that character diversity get brought to life. No interesting picks here that are out of the normal for our players, but of course we do have people playing picks that are kind of off meta. For instance, Magnus Ape is going to be playing his tried and true Umbrella Magnus. The question will be if he's starting Factory or Forest, because they are interchangeable, and based on how the lobby looks, he may choose to do the latter.
Yeah, we'll see what he decides to go for. I know also Magnus Ape deciding to not go for the Shukai. I know that's something that we've seen Magnus Ape actually lean to a bit in recent weeks. But it is always, a pleasure for me to get to see him go back to that Magnus, and I'm glad that he's been on that a lot more recently. Especially the Umbrella Magnus is so fun to watch.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a pick that I love to see. An interesting thing here, though, we saw it a lot yesterday, and it's keeping true today. Archery range has been a very contested
Yeah.
start. At minimum, 4 people a game, from what I've seen. And I'm wondering if maybe it's just paper being extremely contested, or is there something else that's being built out of there that's really drawing players to that side of the map?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the reasoning is, but we may see a lot of early action come out of the archery range. Excited to see if there are any early fights, but generally we're going to see Averse get out of there extremely quickly. They're not going to be one to stick around. And realistically, most of these characters we're seeing up here, it's not the Nadines hanging out in archery. We'll maybe see Lulcastle get up there and kind of finish either the Ballista or the Twin Bow around that time and start to really punish anybody who's left around, but most of these players are just escaping straight away.
Yeah, I've never been one to really see a lot of fighting at this point with these builds, at least. You know, there's always going to be a
Yep.
grief build, as I like to call it, but there are some picks who can look to fight. For instance, Parallax is probably going to be finishing up his spiky ball soon, and then the moment he does that, he can actually look to fight people just because of how strong Sicella is in the early game. Lawcastle, I believe, is also going to be another person to watch out for, finishing Ballista extremely early. Might even have it already, to be honest, and they're just gonna look to anybody to kill that walks into pond, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. There it is. I mean, that is the ballista already completed by a lol castle. So if anybody walks into this pond, which was an absolute hot spot in the lobbies that we were covering yesterday, we might end up falling. We're gonna check into a verse because he is going aggressive onto actor that is paid. Does have that scorch bow. We see the Hedgens with the scorch bow doing an insane amount of damage already. But once the elemental bow is finished, we might see a verse even try and go for a kill onto this Aya here, which has been a bit more of a rare pick, at least from this tournament and what I was being able to cast yesterday.
Oh no, 100%. I think after the changes to flat amp, it's actually been affected way more than people think. It's no longer being buffed by that percentage. So in some cases, Passant and Sleeping Lion breaking out into a small fight here.
Yeah, Sleeping Lion on pretty much air, going to be chased down by Passant, but Rat Jammer on the other side, going to be going down potentially to yeet him. We'll see if the jump comes back up. It seems like this should be a fine escape for the Jackie, because I think Passant is just trying to continue to control Hotel. Suddenly Rat's in the area as well, but not able to really contest this Electron Blaster just yet. But Yeetum joining up here. Gonna get aggressive onto Suddenly Rats, and this might just be the first kill. Suddenly Rats gonna dash away, but Passant is going to follow. Gonna be able to steal that one away. Now it's just Yeetum trying to play cleanup onto Passant. The knockback, Passant gonna continue to kite. Might be able to get away, but this is satisfaction completed by Yeetum already. Very huge amounts of damage going on to Passant. Continuing to kite back with those Qs connecting onto Yeetum. Gonna dash back and should be able to finally escape and get out with their life. So Passant yoinks the kill, gets away, and Yeetum just gonna get some mastery from these fights.
Man, pretty interesting to see our first kill already, especially on someone like Suddenly Rats. He's known for being very slippery, and with no cameras there, I wouldn't have been surprised if he did get out, but I guess his movement speed was just a little too low to be able to make the distance needed to escape from both of those threats.
Yeah, just too much damage from Yeetum and from Passant in this early game, and suddenly Rats being on just about nothing, not allowing them to actually escape. We're gonna see Yeetum teleport directly onto Rengar Oscar, and now the engage gonna come out from that Fiora, but Yeetum is just far too strong on this heart right now. Gonna be able to chase down with the flanger, lands the slow, and gonna get a couple more auto attacks, but Rengar Oscar trying to escape this and might just have enough movement speed with the Bucephalus being completed already, and Yeetum only being on the repaired slippers.
Rengar is being a little greedy, though, really not wanting to give up that zone. I'm wondering if there's something there that he still needs, and he can't find anywhere else. I believe he's doing maybe Dobok? Yeah, so he might just need the Monk's Robes.
Yeah, we'll
Pretty
see.
interesting. But, sorry, back to what I was saying earlier. Flat Amp, uh, sorry, Low Castle and
Go.
Edam and Tony getting into it. Edam able to E over the wall. Looks like he gets away from Tony. Tony doesn't have the mobility to chase down, but he might go down to the cello here. Not quite enough.
Not quite enough indeed. Yeetum just having enough regen with the food ticking to survive that Sicella ult. We did see Parallax yesterday pick up a couple kill steals with that ultimate, so was excited to see it once again. But Tony evolved, able to bully out this heart after Yeetum has been, I mean, honestly, just oppressive in the early game. But Tony, with the Plasma Sword build, having a Mithril armor already complete, able to turn that around and actually force the heart out of Doc, being in full control of Doc like we've seen another Yuki player do a lot of times in the past, and that's Homecoming.
Oh yeah, Homecoming is definitely a player to keep your eye on. At the moment, though, it looks like he's just trying to farm for his rare items, as most people should be doing at this point. We may get to see something going down between him and Rengar Oscar as he comes into the bush.
Yeah, gonna face check. This is a great play from Homecoming, getting the stun into the immediate coup de grace. Gonna start to chase down Dashing Gentleman, the button up to reduce the cooldown. Might be able to chase onto Rengar Oscar, as of course I missed the hedge and kill on the other side of the map. But we are gonna get the parry coming out from Homecoming. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to fully chase. He is a little bit faster right now than Rengar Oscar. Actually, no, a little bit slower, and we'll see if he can actually chase with the Dashing Gentleman. Not going to be enough just yet, as we have Lolcastle chasing onto Rat Jammer incredibly low on the side of the map, and Binbins, or not Binbins, actually, yes, Binbins being chased down by Magnus 8. That's going to be the motorcycle, going to be a kill. A lot of fighting on every single zone in this map right now.
Sometimes it feels like that's how it gets, where when we start thinking that there's a nice little lull in fighting, everything just gets right back into it. Ratjammer looks like he might not be done with Lowcastle yet, though. Going in, popping the ultimate. We see the wire come down from Nadine. Will she be able to escape? He's taking a lot of damage at this point. Ratjammer still has his jump,
Ooh.
and he gets the kill.
Yeah, that's one of those scenarios where it's essentially just, I'll take a chess term, call it Zugzwang, as if you jump over the wall, you're still dead. There's no decision that is correct. If you keep running away, you also die to the Jackie. And it was perfect for Ratjammer there to be able to take down the Nadine and Lolcastle Falls. We saw Ratjammer being an incredibly aggressive player yesterday, and going to continue that in stride in the semifinal here.
Definitely. We do see that he's playing the Bleeder Jackie, popularized by Wraith Kira, who was not able to. Lily Dongo getting a polymorph on Parallax. Fights breaking out everywhere.
Yeah, just going to continue to have the fights. Lily Dongo should be able to get away with the hat trick, just the teleport over the wall, and Parallax not going to be able to chase down onto that very slippery Emma. Lily Dongo able to get away for now. Still maybe fancying this fight, or at least just trying to be safe around this area. We see pretty much an auto attack build coming out of Lily Dongo on the Rocker's Jacket, the Fuma Shuriken, and the Radar.
This has actually been something she's been working on for a while now. If I'm correct, she'll look to transition to EOD suit if she can find the pieces for it. But she'll keep the Radar, and it actually helps her late game dueling quite a bit. I'm wondering if maybe it could be because that we're seeing Flat Amp just not be as impactful anymore because of the changes to damage formula, or if Radar really just is that great on Emma.
Yeah, it is very cool to see this auto attack focused build. I think Lily Dongo has kind of always been on that Fuma Shuriken hype from what I've seen out of her on this Emma, and just continuing to adapt and evolve that build over time and with the patches. I mean, this was talked about yesterday as well. As you look at the ranks, and Lily Dongo definitely not on the higher end of the ranked players, but definitely someone to keep an eye out for in the tournament in general, because she plays well above her weight class.
All right, just a little bit of a engage going on between Rengar Oscar and Ratjammer. It almost looked like Rengar Oscar wanted to continue the chase, but I don't think he ever gets a hand on his Jackie. So of course, breaking off here is not a bad idea. I'm wondering if we're going to see any kind of specific players go for Wickline in this game. I'm not familiar with half of the lobby from yesterday. So did you notice anyone who was specifically targeted every game?
No one here was a big Wick farmer except for Passant, and he is already dead in this lobby. Other than that, it was Roy yesterday, Roy, being there every single time, picking it up immediately on spawn. So I don't have a clear favorite to go pick up the Wick out of this group right now.
I'm not 100% sure I do either. Avarice, being a very good player, does not seem to target Wick every game, but rather we could see it come out of Homecoming. Sleeping Lion actually, I think, may end up being there around that timing. But of course, this is all speculation at this point, so we're just going to have to see. And it is coming up in a minute, so it's not like we're going to have a long wait.
Oh, Karma K finding themselves between two Yukis, getting caught in the coup de grace. Homecoming, believe, was able to pick up that kill and might be able to grab one more as Tony Evolve tries to run away. But we do have the big bite coming in from Magnus Ape. Going to be chasing down onto Homecoming with the spin on top of him, trying to pick that up. But Teska coming in for the fourth party on this one, going to pick up that kill, steal it away, and Homecoming is going to fall in 13th on this lobby.
And you really hate to see it when you know that you've worked really hard for that kill. Someone comes in, almost swoops it away from you, and then they get third-partied again. Sleeping Lion going in on Ratjammer, but Ratjammer uses a quick D-skill to get out of there. Dagger invisibility really coming into play, but he is going to waste a little bit of timer here. And as we've been seeing, timer is very important in these games. Temp zones, you may not make it out just because you have low timer.
Absolutely, we can see that come into effect later on. And while Ratjammer is going to be nearly impossible for someone to catch onto, at least unless they opt in for the fight at this stage in the game, that timer can absolutely matter as we get to the later stages. As we do have Lily Dongo, actually the only one in position. Okay, no, well, never mind.
Sorry, but anyways, as I was saying earlier, because I've noticed people in the chat asking about it, flat amp. So I've mentioned it a few times. The damage calculation has been changed. So I just want to cover this really quickly. Flat amp is no longer affected by percentage, and because of that, flat amp is going to be doing a lot less damage, which is why you're seeing characters like Hedgen and Emma doing a little bit less damage this patch, but still being relevant. We do see people stalking around Wickline. Magnus Ape is just kind of sitting in front of it, waiting to see if anyone engages on it, and then of course he'll look to come in on the third party and basically 2v1 with Wickline as his ally.
Yeah, but Averse is going to be the one who does take the engage onto the Wick straight away. Will take a little bit of time to take this down as he doesn't have the highest amount of damage just yet, but he is currently uncontested on this Wick and should be able to just slowly take it. It looks like no one is even poking around the area. The closest player is Magnus Ape, and he's moving into the temple. So as long as Averse sniffs out that no one else is coming, which it feels like he does, this should just be a free Wick take at the 11-minute mark here in Avenue.
Man, and let me tell you, this is something that I don't see enough from lower end players, where it's like, just take your time with Wickline, don't rush it, do a little bit of damage, let it reset, it won't heal, so you have that time to be able to. Because if he hard commits there and then Magnus Ape comes in from Temple, that's a really bad spot for him, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. If he hard commits, he uses everything. Magnus Ape comes in with the bike. That's just a dead Averse, but Magnus Ape doesn't decide to show up, and Averse able to play it slow, takes that for free, and we've got a little fight here between Tesca and Tony involved, and Tony actually wants it. It's going to go ahead and parry the fire trap, goes in for the stun, and Tesca's going to start to run away, but this is a Frag-a-rack Tesca here on the Jackie. Should be fast enough to run away from this fight if he doesn't want it.
Definitely. He's not going to end up taking any fights that he doesn't want to. Tesca's a very safe player, looks to just poke with Q and kind of moves on from there. He'll go for kills that he wants to. Tesca's a very smart player. We see him a bunch in high elo, so it's not like he's going to be making any dumb mistakes, right? But from here, it's just going to come down to trying to farm, keep his mastery lead up so that he can continue pushing for the rest of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to continue to try and find those fights. Speaking of fights, we might see something between the two motorcycle gangs of Lumia Island of Sylvia and Magnus, but we don't actually have anything coming out of this one just yet. Tony and Tesca still on the bottom side of the map, potentially playing back and forth, but not going to be a lot of fights just yet until we have these zones start to close off a little bit more.
So from here, who do you think is slated to be the best in the game right now? Tesca having his frag is, of course, a pretty nasty look, but we do have Superior on a Sudasara already. Sorry, Sudasarna? I'm not exactly sure on how to the pronunciation for that. But on the other end, we have Edam with his full build.
Yeah, Edam on that full setup of the Enad, having the Wonderful Tonight and the Laurel Wreath is huge, as we do see Rengar Oscar picked up by Averse. But I did want to mention just this player, Averse, on the Wick buff on this Hedgen, but also just Averse in the late game is always just a treat to watch. He's got a very solid build already, EOD, Boots of Hermes, and he's got the Wick plus pretty solid mastery, which I'll check in just a second, but he's picked up 3 kills, so we know he's in a good spot going into the later stages, and I feel like I can never count out Averse's Hedgen when we get to those late game final zone scenarios.
Definitely. Even if he had 0 kills at this point, I would still have to be worried about Averse myself. Tony Evolved getting the ultimate down on Superior.
Yeah, the coup de grace going to land Superior, going to juke back and forth, but Tony Evolve might be able to catch up here with the stun. He's got the mithril items, making him a little bit faster here with that mithril armor. Gonna get 1 or 2 more autos, but Superior going to pour it away with that ultimate onto the hat trick. Gonna get away from that one, as we do have Magnus Ape just gonna be Monka steering on out of the temple, trying to get away from everyone, but gonna run directly into Actor that is paid, and that is going to be the route down onto Magnus Ape, and the steady shot connecting on many of these bullets. Actor that is playing this beautifully, going to pick up Magnus Ape, just wrong place, wrong time, or right place, right time if you are Actor that is paid.
After that is paid is definitely showing us the potential that Pistol Aya has. They don't have the best damage in the game, but W really does stack up the more abilities that you land on it. And Pistol Skill giving you that reset, giving you that movement speed, lets you get in. We might see another fight break out here between Tony OTP and Averse. Gets the fear. Maybe looks for a disengage at this point.
Yeah, Tony ends up getting outplayed there a little bit on the teleport from Averse and realizes that, hey, I've been beaten there. Gonna just run out of that one, as he does run into Actor that is paid, trading with Rat Jammer. Looks like the Aya just wants to get out of this one, but is going to continue to trade blows back and forth with the Jackie straight away, trying to find an opportunity to escape. But right now, walking into Pond is not going to be a viable option, losing too much timer. going to be moving into Avenue instead. Rat Jammer continuing to put the pressure onto the Aya, but Actor That Is Paid is being able to bully out that Jackie for now and potentially can move to the teleporter if they want to just leave in that fashion.
So from here, we're looking at Actor as paid on double mithril. Pretty nice. The movement speed is going to make sure that he can kind of just walk down anyone he wants to. But we're actually seeing a large group of players here in Avenue, and I'm wondering if fights maybe break out over that. But there's other empty areas on the map that like you could catch farm to. You don't have to take these kind of risky engages. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's generally not going to be correct for these players to try and take these fights, especially when it is this compact here in Avenue. We've got 4 players that were in the area, and it looks like everyone is understanding that at this point and saying, okay, well, if I fight now, I'm probably going to get third-partied. Let's try and find another opportunity to go farm, and we see Tony Evolve take the teleport over to Uptown trying to find some farm, but it looks like a verse has probably cleared out all the bears and everything already in this area, as we see Yeedom also porting in here to Uptown, which has now become the hotspot.
Definitely. There is that legendary crate on the top side, and we're seeing Avars and Tony OTP going at it again, getting a little bit of poke. Avars kind of sitting around his range to make sure that Tony OTP doesn't want to take the fight, and he does back out. The legendary crate was picked up by one of the Emmas. I'm unsure if it's Lily Dongo or Superior.
Yeah, we can try and check in a sec, but for now, a verse is just burning down Yeedom. We talked about how strong this heart could be with the full Enad items, but Averse is just making it look easy, sidestepping the charm, picks up the kill, and that is the weakness of this Enad build. It is so incredibly squishy. You run into someone like Averse on the Hedgen, and you don't stand a chance.
Really glad we're getting to see Tony OTP going in, takes a huge chunk of damage. Looks like he really just can't tell if he wants to take that fight or not, but based on how he's sitting, he may want to.
Yeah, I mean, Tony seems to want to fight Averse, but he keeps getting feared away and realizing that, hey, it's probably not a great fight for me to take. And every single time he runs in there, gets feared away, and backs off. So I don't know that we'll actually see Tony take that completely at any point until we get to the final zones. And it feels like he is too tanky and too fast for Averse to actually run him down himself.
On the other end, though, man, this pop-off game from Avars, I was really excited to see more of him because last time he really didn't have any kind of games like this going in, but he's doing really well today and showing us exactly why he is rank 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Just checking on to Superior because you did mention that Sudarsana earlier on, and potentially this was the Emma that grabbed the crate because I'm seeing Emerald Tablet and Bracelet of Scotty completed for Superior. This is a pretty powerful Emma that is running into Sleeping Lion right now. The Polymorph to try and stop some of the speed from the bike, but Sleeping Lion should just be able to get out of that one very easily. They do have full fuel right now on this Sylvia, and that should allow them to actually get a lot of mileage with this bike in these final few areas.
We're starting to come into Final Zone with 8 players. I had a lobby yesterday that we were watching. 7 players came into Final Zone twice. Temp Zone, I think, is going to make this extremely chaotic. We're going to see players coming in and just really struggling to find their place in the area, and a lot of people die off Timer. How often did you guys run into that yesterday?
Oh, Timer was killing people left and right with those kind of penultimate zones. What were you were saying temp zones? That's a little bit easier to say overall, so I like that. But yeah, the temp zones definitely causing a lot of people to die to Timer, and I think that when we have this many, it's very likely that we see more of that happen because people cannot fully claim a zone for themselves, and everyone's going to be ticking away. As we see Rat Jammer hard committing onto Actor That Is Paid, does get the slowdown from the jump with the bleed applied, applies one more bleed, but not going to be able to chase it any further as there is just the collapse of the entire lobby going on to Actor That Is Paid. They are trying to escape, but Superior is going to land the Polymorph and the teleport forward, trying to find the kill. Is going to be missing on a lot of these skill shots. Actor That Is Paid having some very clean movement back and forth, dodging a lot of these, trying to waste as much time from Superior as possible. There's still 45 seconds before the temp zones, and Actor That Is Paid is going to have to continue to try and heal up and run away from this. Emma just so sticky with the teleports, with the scaling going on, and now it's another Emma joining the fray. Lily Dongo coming in, trying to get the KS here, trying to get one more auto. If she can get over the wall, she can take it, but instead, Lily Dongo going to get collapsed on by Rat Jammer on this Jackie. Going to be applying a lot of damage here as Lily Dongo teleports over the wall, but might be met with Tony Evolved as she reaches the edge here. Going to get stunned up by that cuff link, and now Lily makes it over the wall, and we've got a little bit more fights here in this gas station in Avenue, trying to pick up more. I guess it's a fire station even, as Superior trades on to Tony. Evolve the Verse potentially fighting with Tesca on the other side, and we've got fights on every which way in Avenue, all over the place. The players going back and forth. Tesca trading with a Verse, and now we've got Sleeping Lion trying to join the fray here. Pretty low on timer, is the one that is in the back seat here, trying to find an opportunity, but Sleeping Lion is a little bit doomed with the timer now, as Actor That Is Paid is still alive in the fray, fighting with Superior. We have so many players in this fire station right now. Sleeping Lion trying to jump in to at least get a kill to extend their timer, as Actor That Is Paid kites away, and now Sleeping Lion tries to take it, but Superior is the one who grabs it. Sleeping Lion, with only 3 seconds left, is going to be popping in just a moment, but Superior does fall as well. Or no, Superior picks up the kill. Tesca as well picks up Sleeping Lion, and now we still have 4 here in the fire station. Is Tony involved, going back and forth? Tesca trying to pick up Tony. Tony's got 3, 2, 1, and Tony pops as well. Tesca picks up another, gonna go on to Superior now, who is very low on timer, as Lily Dongo is going to fall, and Tesca picks up their 4th. This is gonna be the 5th, as a Verse is just chilling in the other side, waiting for their prey to show up, and it is going to be Tesca who comes out victorious in the big skirmish inside the fire station. Now it's just a 1v1 with the Hedgen. Tesca versus a Verse trying to kite back and find a little bit of ground, but the Fragarack on this Jackie doing so much work. It is just going to be a very difficult time for Tesca to get in, and he gets burned down by the ultimate, coming back up, and a Verse going to take first with 5 kills. Tesca having the other 5.
What a wild final. Like we said, timer did play a big factor in some of those kills, but man, to just sit there and watch Tesca pick up 4 of those kills towards the end, it really, really honestly great to see.
Yeah, I mean, that was something. Yeah. I want you to try your very best to break down what we just watched in more slow speed, because I had to go, you know, full auctioneer for the end there. But I want you to try and at least give me some analysis of what we just witnessed in that temp zone with so many players alive at the end.
A lot of the big things we saw, where there's, of course, the 2 zones, and you have to watch players that are going to basically be trying to make their foothold there. If we focus in on the top end for a little bit, Avarice was having to fight against Ratjammer to get his entrance in on that area. And that can be a little difficult, right? Because Avarice doesn't want to be the one to approach in that situation, because the moment he does, he starts taking damage from Jackie. And from there, if you break away while they're having that little fight, there's just a clusterfuck, basically, of like 6 people that all want that one other zone. And someone has to make that call of like, okay, we have to start killing people here. Because if no one kills anyone, then they all die to timer, right? It lasts 60 seconds. You have 50 seconds at most. The last man standing is going to win and keep that area. Once Avarice like takes his foothold there, a lot of people have been saying like, you're kind of slated to win if you get left alone there. But in that kind of situation, it kind of just comes down to whoever gets the last hit for the kill, because you have 5 people all going at it. Once one person gets too low, it kind of like it's like watching wolves jump in on Weekend to Prey, you know? They're all just going to go to like eliminate that person, and then they move on to the next one. And Tesca, just great positioning, great game sense to know like, hey, I need to be standing in this area so that I can make sure that my bleed is ticking. I have the best chance of snatching up this kill. And as he gets those kills, he is gaining timer back up to 30 seconds. And honestly, I think we just saw really great performance from a Jackie player who showed you that it's always about your performance in the mid to early game, but rather how you close out your late game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you hit the nail on the head there, and I think that you know, it snowballs a little bit, right? So Tesca comes in, picks up 1 kill, his timer's back up, he gains a little bit of HP. Now he's got an opportunity to come back in, pick up another, and from there, Tesca doing just a fantastic job picking up kill after kill towards the end. Finding the opportunities to get all those last hits, and like you mentioned, making sure their bleed is applied on the ones with low timer, as that last tick might lead to you getting that kill. I think that was very important from Tesca there, and extremely well played in that, you know, temporary zone prior to having to fight off against a Verse. And, you know, that's a tough matchup for a Jackie going up against Hedgen, especially. I think the Wick buff was still rolling for a Verse at that point in the game, so that is going to make it very, very hard to actually take that 1v1.
Oh, yeah, and one big thing, Avarice coming in when he did actually played a very big role in that, because Tesca didn't have time to loot bodies, and I'm sure there were some chess pieces he would have rather taken there. We do see that there's a Mithril Armor on Tony and Lily Dongo. He would have probably loved to have equipped those and would have helped his final out, but Avarice just putting on pressure when he needs to, making sure that you don't have time to make those adaptions, really pays off.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we will be going into our next game here, setting up the lobby. How do you feel going into this one?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I caster buff a verse, but I've never cast a tournament where a verse doesn't have like a massive pop off game. I might be giving him a little bit of a buff. I'm not sure about that one because yeah, I mean this is just kind of another day at the office for a verse when I've watched him, right? When I come in and watch him, it's like 5 kill first. Yep, that makes sense. We'll see if he continues to keep up that domination throughout the rest of the lobby. But Tesca, I was really impressed with. Tesca's someone I generally see make it towards the end, but not with many kills. And I really liked how they played that final fight, ending up with 5. I think they picked up a kill earlier on as well. I don't think it was just 5 at the end of the day. So I think, you know, that was really well done from Tesca as a whole. And I think, I'm excited to see these Jackies in general. I think Ratjammer and Tesca with this kind of bleeder build that you were talking about have been doing a really good job in this tournament so far, and I wouldn't be surprised to see both Jackies advance to the final.
I think that could be something that we see. Tesga is definitely in a great spot here. Avers is in a great spot. Something I'm interested looking forward to here is the adaptations that we get to see made. People already can see like this is a caster heavy lobby. Avers is steamrolling. We have two Emmas, we have Cicellas. Who is going to take that moment to say like, hey, you know, my pick isn't doing well here, but we could swap over to something that's a little better in these lobbies, or we could just see more tech options such as Moonlight Pendant getting added in, or the new one, I forget the name of it, but it has like flat skill damage reduction, which could really take the edge off of Avers's bite, so to
Yeah.
speak, when paired with mithril armor.
Yeah, I mean that definitely could help. I am interested in those adaptations. One of the character swap adaptations that we definitely can see is from a player like Homecoming, who does have a couple of characters that he can go to, but recently he has been very committed to the Yuki yet again, and I'm curious to see if we would see any adaptations. It felt like this game started out pretty well for Homecoming, and he did just get third and fourth partied onto one of those fights. So maybe he just tries to play a little bit more conservatively going forward and tries to find better placements to just secure a top 9 to make it into the final.
Oh yeah. Characters that I am hoping to see a little bit better play out of, and you know, better is not the word I should say. These are all really great players, but rather than hope to see a game from them that goes a little smoother, suddenly Rats. We saw him
Yeah.
get eliminated really early last time to no fault of his own. He got stuck in a bad place at a bad time. And if he's one of those players that if he gets to the end game, he's going to be a very hard thing to deal with. And especially with the way the new temp zones work, he could just set up an entire zone that basically no one even wants to bother going into, and he can turn the entire other side of the lobby into just a man fight of 7 people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rats is someone that I didn't know about until I cast him in a tournament. It was an Eternal Arena, and he won back-to-back games against some very high-level players just by taking control of the zone. He'd have like 8 mastery to everyone else's like 17, but his trap mastery was so high, and he'd just have so many smart bombs that he's winning these zones. And so I just want to see, especially with the chaos of that last game's temp zones, I want to see Rats make it to the end with just an inventory full of smart bombs, full of remote mines, and just see what happens. Like that's just what I don't care if Rats wins it. I just want him there. I just want him to be there at the end and just add that level of chaos to the amount of chaos we're already seeing.
Oh yeah, and honestly, just this is a great example of a player that really just reminds you that cameras are an important slot for your late game. It, you know, we don't have dedicated slot for ward, so to speak, like other games do, and because of that, sometimes players forget to just say like, you know, I really don't need this like 50th bit of food. Maybe I should have some cameras instead, so that in case people do come in with traps, I can clear them out. For melees, it's a lot harder, but you have these ranged characters who have the ability to just take their time with it, take it out one auto at a time, and it really helps.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is incredibly important that you have cameras when suddenly Rats is alive. You know he's coming in. It reminds me of, oh, who is it? Lenny. Lenny on his Hyunwoo, always just having an
Yeah.
inventory full of traps. That's who it reminds me of. But this is on an Ice Soul, so it is arguably a lot more terrifying when they are coming at you with that many smart bombs and that many traps in general. And I think I really hope that Rats finds a better early game, so we at least get one of these games today where we have just the chaos, the mad genius that is suddenly Rats at the end of the lobby with all his contraptions.
Definitely. At this point, we're just kind of waiting for one more player to come in before we start the round. Sorry for the delay. So I guess we can have a little bit of time to talk about like some differences in the meta. This is a brand new patch. It's a very large patch. People are adapting How do you feel about the temp zone changes instead of like how it was last patch for Final Circle?
I am very 50-50 on it so far. I want to see a lot more games before I make like a full opinion on it. But my like first impression is I've had games. I had one yesterday, which was like really just a gorgeous final area where we had like a 3-player fight in one of the temp zones and a 2-player fight in the other temp zone. And then kind of the winners of each had a 1v1 at the end. And that was like, I thought that was really cool. But then, this time we had like 7 players in one temp zone ticking out timer. And while it is pretty crazy to watch, it is very hard to follow everything that happens within that engagement. And I think that
Oh
even
yeah.
when we had those final zones that had 7 or 8 players, those were actually a little easier to follow because not everyone was ticking timer at the same time. Some people were controlling some timer, some were ticking down very low and then having to jump in, and then there would be a moment of action before everyone resets to their corners. And so there are moments where when there's a lot of players left, somehow a single final zone almost feels better than the temp zones, at least when we have that opportunity where it's like 7 in one and 1 in the other.
It definitely can be. And that situation you were talking about earlier, where the two 1v1s happen and then they kind of go in, is how it's meant to
Right.
be. But players don't exactly adhere to what's meant to be done. We're going to find what works best, right? And we're going to abuse it the best we can. And I think that's what's going to eventually come down is players are going to see that like there are ways to abuse the timer functions of this final zone. And we may eventually see changes because of that. But an interesting thing is more builds actually become viable because of this. For instance, Regen Magnus has been kind of dead in the last like maybe month or two, and he could come back simply because he can't get kills, but he can't be killed. And because of that, he could actually force other players to die off of timer.
Yeah, that is true. As long as they keep max timer, that can give them the opportunity to just stay alive and just outlast everyone while trying to apply damage to people who have the lowest timer and try and continue to beef up their own throughout. I think that's kind of an interesting strategy. That's kind of a good call out. That might be something we see. And maybe someone like Magnus Ape would be the person to lead the charge on that, especially because they generally are the one pushing the meta on Magnus in North America.
Definitely. Magnus Ape and me, we do talk a lot when it comes to like build designs. We play a lot of the same characters. I play Hyunwoo Magnus, he plays Hyunwoo Magnus. But the difference between us is definitely he is a much more aggressive player. He loves to build damage. He loves to build full spell amp. I am a more tank player. I do full tank tonfas. He'll play full amp tonfas. So for someone like him, he loves to follow the Korean meta, and because of that, we get to see a little bit of like what might be going on that other players miss. He's always keeping an eye out for new things to do, and that's why we're seeing the Spy Umbrella play. It's been a dead weapon for a long time, but with the constant buffs and the constant nerfs, he's the first one to pick it up and really just start adapting with it in this and showing, just how great it can be.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing an immense amount of damage with this Magnus in this game. It was definitely a treat to watch that, and we saw him burn down Homecoming earlier on in the game. It got stolen away from him by Tesca, but it was still something that he was able to do. It looks like the R's are coming out. I'm not going to count 18. I think we're probably good
We're ready to
to
go.
go. So I'm going to start this game straight away. We're going to jump on in as we've got game number 2 of the semifinals. Ready to go.
Can't say I see anything too new yet. Looks like everyone's pretty much still on their same picks. Nothing wrong with that at all. If it worked for you before, there's no reason to not go to it now. Parallax looks like he's struggling between what skin he wants to play. Interesting.
Yeah, that is
I can
really the
understand.
most important choice I think that he has to make here is which skin does he play for Sissela. But of course, Comfy Sissela is the one you got to be going for. I absolutely love the skins that they have put into the game so far. As we talked about this at length yesterday, that the skin game for Eternal Return is just incredible. We love that they went for drip instead of going for like the fantasy change ups. Like Cronin and I got on like a tangent yesterday about how we need Nimble Neuron to reach into making streetwear next. They just need to like I
Yeah.
just want the Hyunwoo fit. I just want that to be a thing that I can buy because I would give any amount of money to just have that fit.
And let me tell you, if you've played the old game at all, Black Survival, Immortal Soul, as it's now called, they have some amazing looking skins that I hope make it into this game. One of my favorites being Mercenary Shoichi. Just looks really cool with like the nice white jacket, He's carrying around a suitcase full of money that's sticking out, and he's bloodied all over. It just looks great, and that kind of like personality that gets brought to life with these is something that like I can't wait to see. A personal favorite skin of mine that I'm hoping to see eventually, I like to call it Terminator Magnus. Just give him the T-800 look, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the entire outfit. I think it'd be great. But in the meantime, we are seeing, same as last time, a bunch of people starting archery range, a bunch of people starting factory. It just really seems like these are going to be the areas that like people are going to be contesting.
Yeah, absolutely. These are the two hotspots that we are seeing for the start of the game. But of course, like you mentioned, we don't generally see a lot of fights. The people that tend to get a little bit aggressive early on are going to be the Cicelo once we see that spiky bouncy ball, or it's going to be Castle once they finish that ballista, which might actually be being completed right about now. Yep, there it is.
Time, about 40 seconds. Might be a world record.
That's a quick one. That is a quick one, isn't it?
Oh, messes up the wire trying to go up towards the top side, but it happens. You know, we weren't watching. It literally happens to everybody. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to slide through a wall playing Jukai when I was new, and I would just spin in place.
Yeah, this has been kind of a classic of us catching mistakes on this stream. Just small ones, very small ones. It's like, oh, sorry, didn't mean to be spectating you there. Sorry about that one, Castle. You can get away with it. Walk away with your ballista and try and find some early grief potentially, but no one coming to pond, which is always surprising for me. It's a hot spot in a lot of lobbies that I watch, but it is completely dead in this one as Alley and Chapel and Doc kind of seem like the places where a lot more people are hanging out.
Oh, yeah, with a lot of these players playing Enade, those are zones they have to go through, so we are going to see a lot of them kind of cycle through there. Avarice looks like he's taking his time a little bit more coming through. And now we have suddenly Rats maybe taking a fight with Actor that is paid on the bottom end, getting a lot of damage off the W, but it looks like it's not going to be enough. Suddenly Rats chasing down for the kill here. Do you think he's going to get it?
I mean, Rats is pretty aggressive here. There's no boots on Actor that is paid. This should be free. Rats has the Heelys and the Magnum Boa. Actor that is paid just doesn't have a way out on the Aya, and just being on actually nothing in this inventory. Rats able to pick up that kill and just get a little early mastery and a couple of points added in, trying to make it to the semifinal. I mean, Rats is in a much better spot than last time. Last time he was dead, so we'll take 17th and a kill.
Well, yeah, and like I was saying, you know, this is a character we're hoping to see more of, and this early kill sometimes is all it takes to really just secure yourself late game. Taking on a person who will be a lot harder for you to deal with later, or getting like a little bit of materials that like may just speed up your build.
Yeah, absolutely. It's possible that even though there were no crafted items for Actor that is paid, that they had items that were needed for Suddenly Rats that could help accelerate them a little bit here. There was a bit of a trade between Superior and Parallax in the pond, but neither of them going to fully commit, as we've got the Wind and Fire Wheels for Superior. So this is the Shuriken build that Superior likes to go for. Goes Wind and Fire Wheels and then tries to transition to the Certasana like we saw last time.
Right, and then from there, Passant looking in a bad spot. Takes a lot of damage from Suddenly Rats. Suddenly Rats drops the W. Might end up getting him. Just needs one more auto. Gets the roll. Almost.
Yeah, I mean, instead of Suddenly Rats, it's Suddenly Grief going aggressive, but instead Passant
Oh my gosh.
popping off Passant. Landing every ability perfectly, weaving in those double attacks, getting that reload as well with the W. And I thought it was guaranteed. I thought, you know, Suddenly Rats was suddenly griefing and picking up kills, but no. Instead, they're griefing in the other way, where they go down to Passant by getting over aggressive. And Passant, I mean, this guy, I know he is a absolute beast on the Razi, but that is just flawless mechanical play and execution once again from Passant. We saw it from him yesterday. It's always been, you know, Passant's hands are immaculate, and sometimes he just takes bad fights. But that time, his hands bailed him out of a bad situation, and he finds the kill.
Oh, yeah, no, and that's really great game sense for him to sit down and just know his character to that point of saying, Superior, maybe going down to low castle here, actually. Oh my god, the Q. I never get used to it. It's so nasty to see it do that much damage.
Yeah, I mean, this build is just already so stacked for Castle on the Ballista, Sheath, the Shah Jahan, and the Tachyon Brace. Even having the quiver completed, so he's really just got so much damage at this stage. Pretty much no wild stacks, but it doesn't matter because no one else has items, really. So you're hitting for 600 damage on that Q, and that is just about half of anyone's HP.
Right. I mean, we saw yesterday, they ended up being in the same game, Castle and Avarice. And I literally watched Avarice's half HP bar just disappear from a single Q, and it was kind of depressing to watch.
Ooh, stun gonna land onto Karma K. Parallax maybe opting in for the fight with the Razi. Really good kites back, and that is going to be the smoke screen stopping the ultimate from connecting. Just a couple more hits as the ultimate comes down, and Karma K is going to drop. Parallax picking up their first kill of this semifinal.
We're actually seeing a lot more fights earlier this time. Passant getting a lot of damage. Ratjammer jumping over. Passant does have the weapon skill to help his chase a little bit. Does he get the kill from here, though? Ratjammer did try to hide in the building, but it's no use. Passant's chasing him down. Gets the double autos. Misses the ultimate. Ratjammer's just looking for his E to be back up, and it looks like he might get away.
Yeah, Passant trying to grab that one. Not quite able to grab that kill.
MagnaSafe looks like he doesn't want to let him go, though, on the top end. We're seeing another chase up there, over there from them.
Yep, MagnaSafe on the Ratjammer. Looks like my game audio is not going to stream, so I'll try and fix that in a second. That is a bit weird. It looks like I'm having another routing issue. But, you know, we will try and figure that one out for you, chat, in a second. So we do have a Ratjammer just running along, trying to escape from MagnaSafe. Able to get away, and maybe we'll have Averse getting aggressive onto Lolcastle. Might be their first fight, but this is a very strong Nadine. You do see Averse teleport over the wall. Homecoming, trading with Rengar Oscar. Not actually able to pick anything up there.
Yeah, from here, we're starting to see just little fights break out, but it doesn't seem like anyone really wants to take anything too major. There's a little bit of an engage here from Passant and Lilydongo. The ult did come down from Passant, so he's out of it, but Lilydongo doesn't have their weapon skill. She does get in, land the polymorph. It's just going to be a little bit of consistent damage from here as she goes to ult away and then probably gets out.
Yeah, looks like she will be able to get away from Passant. Actually taking pretty good trades there, and I wonder if Lily actually wants this fight. Going to start to move in onto Passant. Passant going to be trying to kite away. Going to start to trade back onto Lily, dashing forward, but taking a lot of damage, going to get polyed up, and now Lilydongo chasing down, but Passant lands the ultimate, going to choke the iframes, not going to get the stun into the wall, but one more double attack. Does not get it off in time as Lily lands the cards and picks up the kill. Averse picks up his first kill of the game as well on the other side of the map.
Man, there's so much going on at the same time. Lilydongo managing to pick that up so close. I actually was worried that she would end up being the one to go down. But at this point, it looks like she's just going to really show us how strong of a pick Emma can be. Averse did get his kill. I'm not exactly sure who went down to him. It might have been Binbins.
Yes, it was. It was the heart. It was Binbins that went down. So we do have Sleeping Lion going on to Homecoming. It's going to be a Yuki versus Sylvia fight here. Sleeping Lion seems to be well in the lead in Homecoming. Stuck into a corner. Going to get the stun and the coup de grace, but that is just a combo from the Sylvia. Going to pick up the kill, and Rengar Oscar trying to come in for the third party, but might just be able to claim the loot. Gets knocked back, and Sleeping Lion should be able to walk out of this one, especially with all that fuel available.
One thing I think a lot of people don't expect, though, if we saw there, the rapier skill from Rengar Oscar really does cover a bunch of distance, and it can be misleading to think like, oh, you know, I have enough distance from this character, I should be safe, and then to watch them immediately close the gap with that and just sets them up to do the rest of their combo extremely well. Lolcastle with fish and chips sitting on the ground. We've got any fish and chips gamers around? Cube Watch, pretty interesting. I actually don't think Cube Watch is very enticing after the changes to it, but Lolcastle apparently thinks differently, and maybe he'll be able to sit here and show me that I'm wrong. You know, it did have CDR added to it. It is technically a purple now, so it gives a little bit more crafting mastery. And he goes to pick up the other meteorite here. Might have plans for that as well.
Yeah, looks like the meteorite going to be picked up by Lolcastle. I was trying to fix those routing issues because apparently we're not getting game audio. And I looked at the OBS settings and my computer settings, and it says it's correct, so I don't know how to fix it, and I'll try and fix it after this game. Sorry, chat. We're just going to have to go with lack of audio. We're going a cappella for this one, chat. Just going to be me and Motif.
I mean, I would say that I could try to make the sound effects, but I don't think I would give them any kind of justice.
Yeah, that is, you know, it's going to be a tough one, but of course, I hope that we can just fill the air with our beautiful voices. And chat can just make do with it for now, and we'll try and get that corrected for our game number 3, because I think it was working in game 1. I didn't see anybody complaining about it. So whatever that issue is caused, it is a mystery to me as just a Mirrorcaster. Missing my producer just about now, but we do have Averse going on to Parallax. Going to be a girl in the bubble, trying to avoid a little bit here, but all these charms are connecting. The spacing from Averse looking pretty gorgeous here, and Parallax doing their very best to weave in and out, but as the cooldowns come back up, that is just going to be a verse picking up their second kill of game number 2.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people like to think that a lot of the damage is going from Hyejin's E is going to come from the charm itself, but the explosion afterwards actually does a nice decent chunk, as we saw there, helping him close out the kill against Estella. And she's one of those characters that you really can't let stay alive at low HP, because her passive is honestly just going to keep healing her for more and more, and eventually it adds up to more than Fish and Chips can even give you. Radjammer and Tony Evolved here taking a quick little fight. Ratjammer looks like he's just trying to poke with Q, make distance again. If Tony can manage to get like a quick engage on him and do his combo, he might actually be able to take him down.
Yeah, but Ratjammer's playing this beautifully so far. Like you mentioned, just applying the bleed and then running away. And now that they've got the HP advantage, actually looking to all in onto Tony. But Tony, recognizing the situation, is going to kite away while they tick some food here, trying to heal back up and maybe create an opportunity where they can turn and fight. But realistically, I think the Yuki just wants to get away, because really trying to catch on to Ratjammer is going to be extremely difficult. And Tony might be able to be better suited just farming up and getting themselves prepared for the late game.
So at this point, we're starting to get towards questioning like what's going to be on for the rest of our game. We see Avarice here setting up to do Wickline again, uncontested. That's 2 for 2 at this point. He is going to be able to take it down. The question is, what is he going to build? We saw Hermes last game, and it is a really strong item. We might see it again. He does like to keep Heelys on. Looks like that might be what he's making. And from here, it's just going to be, can he push that lead the same way he did last time?
Yep, the Hermes completed like you were talking about, and picks up that Wick buff yet again. A verse uncontested on Wick as Sleeping Lion fights off against Tesca. We'll check in on a verse in a second here if Tesca is able to get away, because a verse is going on to Ratjammer trying to pick up that kill. Sleeping Lion should be chasing onto Tesca, might be able to grab that one, but running out of fuel. Tesca just one more hit, is going to jump away. Ratjammer, both of the rats running away and making it out of their respective fights for now, as Sleeping Lion does not have enough fuel to chase this down, and that is just the Jackie difference, being way too fast to get caught by any of these other players.
This is one of those reasons why everyone just really loves to say, like, Jackie is a rat. You know, it almost feels like you could kill her, but you'll never get that chance to really stick on her long enough. And that's one of the character strengths, actually, just being able to pick her fights and decide, like, do I want to take this, or can I just, like, take a little bit of damage, get some mastery from it, and disengage?
Yeah, now, and yet again, it's going to be a Jackie running away from somebody, as we're talking about them ratting away. Edom this time on the wall. Blazing Dress, Lorewreath, and Radar. So pretty complete build here with the Enad Heart. Going to be incredibly powerful on the damage front, but might be able to get chased down and killed by Magnus Ape if he can get in on top of them. Ratjammer yet again just rat jamming away from Rengar Oscar this time around, and I don't expect the Fiora to be able to catch up, so I do want to just check in a couple other players we haven't looked at yet. Magnus Ape on the Spy Umbrella, not quite to Cabana just yet, but does have the Boots of Hermes. Start pathing around the map and try potentially find a meteorite the next time one falls down from the sky.
Oh, yeah, and at this point, we're actually going to be seeing, like, Ratjammer probably feels like he's on the longest mile right now. Can't get away. Magnus Ape is going to be farming bears, but Lowcastle does find him. Lands the ultimate, is going to continue attacking. We do see the wire come down. Ratjammer jumps away. It's like I've been saying, it almost feels like he can't get away. But Lowcastle not done yet. Picking up a fight against Yidam.
Yeah, Yidam, though, should have enough damage to win this, I would think. But Lowcastle with the dodge on the charm. A beautiful wire to get away from that one, but the showstopper going to come down from Yidam, and that is just going to be a pickup for the Enad Heart, as once again, during all that, Averse picks up a kill off screen onto Lily Dongo as Tony Evolve trading back and forth with the Sylvia. The fail jump over the wall, but it should still be enough fuel to catch up. That is just going to be a great parry from Tony Evolve trying to kite back. We'll see if Sleeping Lion does have enough fuel to actually make the chase down here onto Tony, trying to turn it back around and get the stun, but that is going to be a kill picked up for the Sylvie here. Sleeping Lion picking up kill number 2.
Once again, seeing both of our Yuki players drop down, not showing great performance this game. You think it could just be that Yuki may not be settled well in this meta at the moment, or something else going on?
Well, we talked about it at the, I guess before we started show, that this might not be a great lobby for Yukis in general. Feels like there's a lot of mages, a lot of control mages that are around, and that can make it very tough for these Yukis, but I don't know if that's been necessarily the case. It's been a struggle against kind of all of these characters, even the Sylvias, which historically I think are matchups that you can win as Yuki, have been actually giving trouble to the Yuki players. So it might just be that Yuki is struggling a little bit in the current meta, but at the very least, they are struggling in this particular lobby.
Oh yeah, and I think at this point, if I just went ahead and said hashtag melees, a lot of people would agree, right? Melees do feel like they're the weaker ones of the lobbies. Ranged always feels like they're just kind of dominating. But to be honest, we saw a great performance from a lot of different melee players yesterday. One of them being Ratjammer right now is just running away still as usual against Sleeping Lion. Feels like we've seen this situation 1,000 times now. But Rengar Oscar being another one who just had extremely good pop-off games, showing that Fiora is definitely a pick in the meta to not sleep on. He's able to get kills early, just not happening in these two games. And once again, we're seeing Sleeping Lion chase down Ratjammer with the bike. It almost feels like he's just a mastery farm for Sleeping Lion, but Ratjammer does drop the ultimate, looks to try to get some like counter engage on his own here. I don't know if we're going to see anything come from it, though. He is wasting a lot of timer, though.
Yeah, Ratjammer going to lose a lot of timer overall. Does get out of the red fairly quickly. So we actually do have a trade here between Averse and Yeedam, but does feel like Sleeping Lion has been able to farm a lot of mastery, getting aggressive. I'm going to try and take a second to look at it here. Sleeping Lion, of course, here at 17. Averse at 16. And the lowest at the lobby are a couple of the little Ratjam and Jackies down at 10.
I mean, that's just something that we're expecting to see. They're the ones taking a lot of damage, not dealing it. But because of that, they should have higher defense mastery, which can definitely help towards the end game. Teska is trying to get out here with the weapon skill. Averse still chasing. Lands down a really good bow skill of his own. Teska pretty much just needs to stall long enough to get his weapons goes down to Averse's burst. Sorry for the pause there. But just showing how much damage he can actually put out. Sleeping Lion has been unable to like secure the kill on Ratjammer, but Averse showing here that Wick buff is really all you may need.
Yeah, also just being able to have all that lockdown, all that crowd control that the Hedgen does have helps out quite a bit for Averse getting that kill. And as you mentioned, the Wick buff going to be plenty of additional damage. Sleeping Lion actually getting chunked out a lot by Averse, and now Yeedam trying to capitalize on that with the charm, with the auto attacks, and that is going to be the Enad Heart picking up the kill. Averse looking for the third party, potentially trying to get some trades, and forces the showstopper straight away from Yeedam. That is not going to get very much value at all here, and now it is not going to be available for these final fights between the last 5 players, as Averse has control of the forest, looking for that loot, trying to find as much food and anything else that they can, try and sustain themselves for these final zones, as we are moving to forest in about a minute and a half.
He has lost his Wickeline, though, and that's going to be a big deal. You know, it's a large drop in damage, but sitting on Hermes, sitting on Tendalospan, he does have, like, the defense and the CDR to really help him just continue pushing it out. I would say at this point, we're looking at just really who's going to be able to close it down, with the only two I can point at being Yeedam and Averse being the strongest two in the lobby at the moment. Yeedam more so just because of the build he's playing. Innate Heart is something that just scales indefinitely. It's not infinitely scaling, but like the more mastery she has, the more damage she's dealing, and it's way more effective than other builds just because of how Innate naturally works. And we're not seeing any Innate reduction in this lobby, which I think is a lot more important in this meta.
Yeah, and I think that is going to be big for Yeedam as long as they can position properly and avoid the burst damage from Averse. We are going to see them absolutely shred through everybody with the Wonderful Tonight, the Blazing Dress, the Laurel Wreath, having so much Enad already. Averse trading onto Ratjammer, but Ratjammer able to get away this time around. Not going to go the way of Teska and get locked down for too long. Taken out by Averse. Also, the fact that Wick buff isn't there is going to reduce that overall damage output that they're having to deal with.
I guess at this point, we're just waiting for Final Zone to come in. We're going to end up seeing Temp Zones play into a factor again. Ratjammer does have low timer, so he may end up being one of the people that goes down rather quickly because of it. I'm wondering what kind of pairings, though, we're going to see. You know, we could see 4 people in one zone. We could see 2 and 3. We might even see 5 in one zone, you know? It just happens to be that no one really wants to take another zone and wants to fight for it. I doubt that'll be an option, but, you know, it could come down.
Yeah, these are fairly close together as far as the temp zones go, so we might see some people switch back and forth based on the fights that they do or do not want to take, as Yeedam going to run into Rengar Oscar. Take a break to fish for a little bit as Rengar Oscar comes in, trying to get the trade a big chunk onto Yeedam, taking about 60% of their HP. Going to start to try and regen up as Magnus 8 potentially going to join the fray on this one. Looking for Yeedam, but no one wants to take a full 1v1. They want to be the one who is third partying, as Averse actually going to kind of fail the jump there, going to connect on the route, finally gets the fear on to Ratjammer, but loses a lot of their HP already. Now Averse has the control, has the spacing to try and kite this out, but Ratjammer doing a great job weaving in between the charms, finally going to take a lot more of their HP and damage as Averse starts to chase them out completely. Ratjammer trying to hang out at the edge of the zone, but finally going to have to go into the red as Averse forces them out. Going to start ticking timer as we do have Yeedem trading with Rengar Oscar, but a great bait from Rengar Oscar, avoiding the charm and picks up the kill. That is going to be the Enad Heart down, and Rengar Oscar has full control of this top side. Now Magnus Ape going to contest, doesn't want to play against Averse, rather would play against the Fiora for now. Going to move in for the stun, not going to pick up too much just yet as Ratjammer with only 10 seconds left is going to move into the zone, going to get spun on top of by Magnus Ape. Now taken down by Rengar Oscar, that's kill number 2. Looking for 3 on top of Magnus Ape, getting in onto that, but gets stunned down into the tree stump. Is Averse going to join the fight now, picks that up for free, and this should just be a cleanup for Averse. Magnus Ape only 15 seconds left on the timer, taking some damage from a mine that was set down, and Averse still has the charms rolling from the ultimate. This is just one more needed. The spin from Magnus Ape doing a great job already, but he is going to get feared down and picked up, and Averse picks up game number 2 with 6 total kills.
Man, Averse is showing an amazing gameplay today. Like, really just setting it down, showing us how strong he's going to be able to be a contender. Going into finals at this point, I would actually be surprised to see him lose it out. I'm not even sure he can. Magnus Ape, though, doing what he can. Was not able to pick up a kill there, but came really close with the bike. Rengar Oscar actually picking up 2 at that point. Like I said, the Fiora in the late game is not something that we can kind of just count out. She does so much damage, as we saw, just almost blowing up Yeedam immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an absolute clinic from Averse so far, picking up 11 kills in 2 first places out of our first 2 games. I mean, Averse has clearly already made it into the finals with those score lines. He could go 18th, and he's probably still making top 9. It's just going to be a matter of who will be joining him. Teska still with a decent placement, but no kills this time around, likely with the first game's performance in a good spot. Players like Lily Dongo have made it pretty late in most of the games, but this time a 10th place with only 1 kill could make it a little bit more difficult. But Yeedam and Sleeping Lion also in good position. Players that we want to look out for, though, Passant, Homecoming, haven't had the best games 1 and 2, but they just need one pop-off performance to help find their way into that top 9. And, I mean, who are you looking at when we're going into this game number 3?
I mean, at this point, all eyes are on Averse. The man's already won the last 2. Going into the final one, you can't help but think, like, is he really just going to be able to, like, close it all? A 3rd win? That'd be pretty nice. But from here, we're just going to be looking to see people making placement. Homecoming, of course, it'd be great to see him pop off in a game 3. He is a fan favorite. Magnus Ape has shown consistent games in the finals. And then from there, it's like we have Ratjammer, who's also had consistent testing. He's placed himself in the final, I think, 2 both times now, right? Yeah. Or, sorry, no, he wasn't 2nd this time. He was 3rd this time. But still, like, just final zones, like, he's doing really well.
Yeah, he's been doing exceptionally. We are going to start making that final lobby of the day. We'll check in and see if I've got some scoring updates for you all. Looks like game 1 might be in. Looking at game 2. Don't have full scoring updates just yet. We'll be needing to wait a little bit longer on that, so we don't know exactly who is in the best spots. But other players that had good points after game 1 were Superior. And yeah, Superior, Lily Dongo, and Actor That Is Paid, as well as Ratjammer, all had pretty good points after game 1. And their game 2 performances were pretty solid as well. So they are people who are going to be well positioned as long as they have a consistent game number 3 to actually continue on.
That's true, and something I see people talking about while we have this downtime, we can kind of go into covering this. Enade, right? We saw damage. We talked about damage formulas earlier for Flat Amp and Enade were changed, and there's been this big question floating around the community of does Enade do more or does it do less? And running the rough numbers, to me, it looks like Enade actually will be doing more damage in the late game than it was before after the changes, but Enade reduction, as I mentioned earlier, is much more effective because of this now, right? Enade reduction will be reducing the damage that Enade builds do way more than they were before, but if you have none of it, they're going to be doing more damage overall, so you have to take this into account when you're going into your final. Do I want to slot in a little bit of Enade reduction in my arm piece through Sword Stopper or a magazine, or am I okay taking this massive damage from the opponent because I think I can actually burst them down myself? You could just be looking at 2 glass cannon builds.
Yeah, absolutely. I am very excited to see how the builds evolve and adapt as we go into this final game, and then maybe even later on into the finals, which will be over on Mike's channel. We'll be hosting over there after this, after we figure out who will be moving on and sending over there.
And it looks like we have the go-ahead to go to a quick break really quickly to try and figure out some of these technical issues. If you don't mind kicking it off.
Sure. Let me set that up really quick. Didn't have that ready to go. I do have audio now. If that's what we're taking the break for, I do have that fixed already. But if
the audio is good, then I think we might be able to just keep going on.
If we're good to go, then we're good to go. Because I think chat says we have audio. There was still a little bit of an echo picked up, but I don't think it's very consistent from your end. So I think we're good on that as well. And as long as the players are ready, I'm not trying to hold it up. I'm ready to keep it going. So if that was the only reason we need a break, let's keep it rolling. If we need a break for anything else, let me know, and I'll throw it to a break.
All right, yeah, we'll just go ahead and start populating the lobby then.
Let's get it. Let's get going.
So yeah, last game we mentioned we would love to see like some different alterations to builds or just people adapting to it. We didn't see anything, so to speak, in like the character selection or build department really. Maybe players are just comfortable in what they're playing, and if that's the case, I trust their decision at this point. MagnaSape is definitely doing pretty well with the Spy Umbrella, able to kind of pick up things as he's going, picking up what kills he can with the bike. Lol Castle is doing really well with the Ballista, able to pick up some early kills in the first game, not so much in the second one, but he's definitely showing a strong presence, right?
Yeah, I mean, he has been all over the place. I think like you said, he's been missing out on some of the kills, but he has absolutely been a very strong presence in all of these games, making it very late. It is expected. I mean, MagnaSafe, every time I watch him, even when he doesn't get kills, MagnaSafe is always in that top 5, top 6. I rarely see a game where MagnaSafe drops before then, and really because of that, he always makes it to finals. It's just a matter of how he places in those finals that we generally see come to fruition. But the top 9 for MagnaSafe, that's easy. He'll do that in his sleep.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not wrong. The man's able to pick it up pretty well. Are there any characters or builds that you think you'd be more interested in seeing that we haven't? For instance, on my end, Adriana is a character I love seeing more in tournaments. I think that she's the pinnacle of play when it comes to like perfect experience. I like to compare it to Fox 20XX for Melee, right? She's that character that in perfect environments with absolute levels of play, I think she actually could be the best in the game. And then Adela, of course, a new favorite. Kind of bad, but just because something is bad on ladder doesn't mean it's bad in tournament play.
We saw some great Adela yesterday from Gunner62. Actually, he did qualify. He's in the other semi lobby over on Mike's stream. Maybe still playing Adela because he played it all 3 games last time. He was very, very proficient on that character, and we saw a lot of really big bursts and blow-ups coming out of that Adela. It was really awesome to watch. So I'd love to see more Adela. I mean, I always say Suichi. No one's actually going to pick it, but, I always love to watch Suichi play. I think it is just so much fun to watch in general. But also, as much as I would say I'd love to see a Kathy, I want to specifically see Roy's Kathy. So I'm just excited to see how he does today overall.
Maestro or Mia's Roy is actually extremely good on Kathy, being constantly was ranked 1, ended up losing it out to Adverse kind of just towards the end of the season. But like watching him, it's just like watching a piece of art. He plays it so well, passed it perfectly, always has like the greatest gameplay and going for third tree for his force core, or he's like contesting wick line. There's a lot that goes into it. As for Shoichi, you see Yoon being the best Shoichi in NA was unfortunately unable to join the tournament this time, as far as I know. We've only seen one Shoichi on the other side of the bracket, and it did not perform very well. Ended up dying out very early.
Normally does not. Unless it's EC Unit, usually does not do very well in tournament from what I've seen. Pretty much, yeah. I think EC Unit's the only NA Suichi in tournament play that I have seen be successful when we're talking about solos.
All right, and it looks like we're ready to get started, so let's head off into our next game. Game 3, can Avers close it out, and will we see anything interesting? So far, doesn't really seem like anything too new. A lot of the same picks coming out. Yeah, it looks like pretty much the same exact lobby. All right.
Yeah, we're going to be jumping into it. This is the final game of the semifinal. This will determine who will make it to the finals. 9 players gonna make it out of this one. Move on to 9 from the lobby that Michael is currently casting over on his channel. I mean, do you have any predictions for maybe one of the like on the cut players? Because we know a couple that are pretty much guaranteed, right? You know, Averse, Magnus Ape's probably in there. You know, is there anyone that's maybe a little bit lower down that you're like, they're gonna make top 9? They're making the final.
I think there's 2 that I want to keep my eye on in the beginning, being Suddenly Rats and Lowcastle. Lowcastle finishing an extremely aggressive build in the beginning. However, he's not finding people coming through his areas, right? He may make an adaptation saying like, okay, I'm not getting my early kills playing Ballista, let's swap to something else. But he is strong in the mid game. Suddenly Rats, though, was able to pick up an early kill on an actor that is paid, was very aggressive, almost picked up a kill on Passant. I think he may just be looking to like continue pushing that this game and might actually fine-tune his aggression to the point where he will be able to pick up those kills and steamroll. I think if he did kill Passant that game, he actually would have continued on to be one of the biggest threats in the lobby.
Yeah, I agree. I think that kill was very impactful because Rats dying there, obviously ending his streak, but he was ahead based on that early kill that he got on the Aya. So I think that Rats was in a very good spot.
Speaking of Rats, okay, there we go. I was worried for a second, you know, man, it wasn't moving, but looks like we're all good. Everyone's loaded in, and yeah, we're just going to kind of play this out same as last time. Lowcastle looks like he is still playing the Ballista, tried and true, going to end up teleporting upon and finishing his weapon. It only took him like 50 seconds last time. It looks like he's going to be a little bit slower this time, but hey, you know, not everyone can be a speed racer, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. Going to be getting out of here. Like you said, 42nd Ballista last time. That's actually so insane. I didn't think when I ported over to Castle that we'd see him completing a Ballista last time, but absolutely did. It is slower this time around, but obviously that shouldn't matter. No one tends to be coming through Pond anyway, so Castle could kind of take their time, try and find everything that they need, and get into their build to start farming that wild for the late game.
That's definitely true. And this is something that you're actually going to see coming down for builds all the time, is just like consistency in builds is very important, but you're going to have games. Like we play thousands of games at a time. You're bound to have 1 or 2 where it just honestly takes you a while to finish anything up. So for instance here, Lowcastle just finished his Ballista, but Sleeping Lion on the other end of the map actually finished his Magnum Boa before Lowcastle finished his Ballista, which is statistically speaking the faster weapon. And, you know, these tempos can actually decide a lot of games, because you may end up in an area that earlier, like 20 seconds or 30 seconds than you normally would that puts you there in time for like a threat. Like Passant here with Karma K has ZB is able to like start running down Karma K.
Yeah, actually able to get on to Karma K. Has basically everything to Karma K's nothing. And that is a very quick kill for Passant to pick up another early one. Passant been grabbing a lot of early kills, but his placements have left a lot to be desired. And I'm curious to see if this will be the game that Passant finally gets his pop-off performance. We actually see Tony Evolve teleporting in on top of Passant. Passant does not have the boots, so wouldn't be able to chase Tony down if Tony decided to run. But if they take an all-in fight here, Passant is very powerful. And he's looking at Tony Evolve straight away, going to dash forward, trying to get on him. But Tony should be able to just walk away from this one. He will be chased out of the dock. However, as Edom is being chased out of Chapel by Tesca with the Chainsaw Massacre, now just going to be a teleport away. We do have both of the Jackies kind of chilling in this area. Edom going to port away as well.
Very dangerous moment to still on top of like that, but looks like actor that is paid is going for revenge on Rats, not letting him go this time. Could be a grudge match, so to speak. You know, feels like he got griefed last time and wants to return the favor.
Yeah, absolutely. Rats definitely a lot further behind than they were last time. They had the Magnum Boa at this point and might be completing it now, but yeah, there it is, but didn't have it as early on in order to try and find those bullying. But actually, I want to note Binbin's swapping over to the AR Isol away from the Enad Heart. Going to be on that Agony already. Usually very quick to complete this item alongside the Crusader Armor. Don't see a lot of AR Isol, but Binbins is the player that comes to mind when I think of this pick.
Binbin's playing the AR Isol. I think it's kind of interesting, and that's not what he's been playing lately in this tournament, is it?
No, he played Enad Heart in just about every other game. He did play one AR Isol game yesterday, as we do have Castle going up against Passant, but Passant again on low health picking up a kill. Superior going to try and join this fight, but Castle down on this Nadine, not having the performance they would have wanted in this semifinal. I think it's very likely they are not making top 9 with the 17th in this one, but Passant looking for that pop off on Rozzy. 2 kills already. The only kills in the lobby so far. Going to be finishing up those boots, getting themselves very powerful going forward in this game, in this mid game, kind of hitting those Rozzy spikes that you want to be looking for.
Oh, yeah, and at this point, he's, got himself a nice little lead, going to be finishing up his build. Could look to continue this. Binbins, though, on the AR, it is a new item, it is a new build path, and he just may feel more comfortable on it, especially after the last 2 games. He's one of these people that need to have, like, a really strong showing, or else he's at risk of not moving on to the next round. Parallax almost dying to the Sleeping Lion here. Sleeping Lion does have gas. He should be able to chase this down. It's just all about finding that nice line so that he doesn't have to waste time revving up. Oh. Parallax misses the E. Sleeping Lion's going to continue chasing.
Just done missed the jump over the wall. Vroom, vroom. Here we go. Parallax should be falling down. Girl in the bubble trying to bump Sleeping Lion away. One more stun. Can't connect, and Sleeping Lion going to pick up their first one of this game.
Man, we're just starting to see players drop left and right this time, and I feel like, this is your 3rd game. It kind of sucks to happen, but hopefully they've got enough points to move on. There are players here I would like to see moving on, like Oldcastle, for instance. I'd love to see the Nadine. He does it very well, and it is an interesting pick. Homecoming going down to Rengar. Oscar with the W. It's so much damage. Man.
Homecoming going to fall here to Rengar Oscar. That Fiora just doing so much damage, and almost full build on this Fiora. Just needs to finish the Creed, which might be the craft right now. Homecoming did not stand a chance on that one, not having enough defensive items of his own to even survive for a little bit against the Fiora to try and escape. Just instantly deleted.
Yeah, and like I was saying, we had poor tempo from other players. Karma K, for instance, missing a lot of his items. Ended up dying to Passant because of it. Tezca is going to get a quick escape from Rengar Oscar. He's looking for more kills, and, as we saw before, Tezca's just not willing to take those risks. Avarice, an actor that is paid here. Avarice wants console, and actor does not want to give it up.
Yeah, not going to give it up straight away, but we do have the Mithril Helm complete for Averse, which is going to be a very powerful early item, getting that extra CDR for this Hedgen, get additional fears and roots and just everything coming out as Rengar Oscar trying to get aggressive. Needs a pop-off game. He talked about how Rengar Oscar had some pop-offs yesterday. I think Rengar Oscar needs a pop-off game to guarantee that top 9 this time around and make it into the finals, and it's a good start. It's a full build Fiora with an early kill. This is exactly the start you need if you want to be popping off on this Rapier Fiora.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, now he just needs to look to transition his items. Meteor Claymore is a little more easier to do now that we have the constant Meteor. Joe Use, of course, being a great item. Sometimes I'll see Rengar Oscar build both, and he'll hot swap between the two to get the movement speed. He is looking for the fight on after that is paid here, gets the Rapier skill, gets the W, but not able to get the reset.
Yeah, it does a ton of damage onto actor that is paid. Gonna continue to play footsie, but actor that is paid is using the police station very well. Kind of a lore adjacent with the Aya playing around the police station here, but not able to actually trade off any kills or escape Rengar Oscar just yet. It looks like finally the ring around the Rosie going to end up Rengar Oscar not wanting to continue that chase and is going to escape. And Binbin trading with Passant, using that AR extra range on to Passant and just continuing to put the pressure down with this ISOL. I just want to briefly touch on the fact that Binbin's just plays all Enad characters, right? So he may be playing mostly Heart right now, but I know for a fact he's got an AR ISOL and an AR Aya on the back in his back pocket that he can pick up at any time. I've seen the Aya from him a lot in the past. When I first started casting this game, that was the pick that Binbins was mostly playing. So I know that he does have all these characters, and this time around, going with the ISOL, and we'll see if that switch up is what he needs to actually make it into the finals. We do have Lily Dongo going on to actor that is paid, not going to connect with the call drops. That might have been enough damage to try and finish that off, but instead Lily Dongo just gonna kite out of that one.
Oh yeah, Lily Dongo is actually one of these characters too that I've made a comment about before. If you look at her ranking, she's actually only gold ranked, but she's one of these players that, like, the rank does not reflect her level of skill. She plays a lot of duos, she plays a lot of squads, and she's just a very strong Emma, taking a lot of damage from actor that is paid. Might end up going down, right? Yeah. Oh man, the W to finish it out.
The steady shot going to finish off that kill. Actor that is paid going to grab that one, and Lily Dongo, I mean, we were just talking her up for good reason, but unfortunately for her, going to be falling here to actor that is paid. She might have done enough in games 1 and 2. We'll have to see at the end if she did make top 9. Definitely going to be one of those players that's on the bubble, though.
So from here, Radjammer getting on that Actor. Looks like Actor just can't get out of fights. Does land the ultimate to get Radjammer off of him. Radjammer has his own popped, but Actor can just slide away, and he should have weapon skill coming back up soon. So pretty safe position for him. How do you feel about Actor? He's doing really well lately. A lot of damage, consistent play. His positioning is great. A rough game too, but everything else looks really solid.
Yeah, I'll touch on that in just a moment. Sleeping Lion chasing on to Tony Evolve. Tony gonna dash away, does have the button up, might be able to help get out of this one, but Sleeping Lion has so much fuel right now, just doesn't seem like they want to commit it, knowing that they are running towards the red zone. Finally going to jump on the bike and get in for a little bit more damage. Tony gonna land the stun, trying to continue to kite away and pick up with that food. Sleeping Lion trying to continue to chase onto that. Not going to be able to pick it up just yet, but we do have Binbin's going to join the fight now and does land the root, and that will be Binbin taking that kill and going to start to run away from Sleeping Lion, getting the Mock Mine down, and Sleeping Lion tries to take this engage. Looks like Binbin's would be able to win this, though, because right now they're just doing far too much damage on this full Enad build already. Radar, Agni, Laurel Wreath already completed. Incredibly powerful here, and we just get the teleport away. Binbin's so strong right now.
Honestly, just showing us how that Enade can really just be applied to so many characters. Like you were saying, he does have the ISIL and the Aya. I feel like the ISIL is probably the middle ground between the damage that Heart has and the survivability that Aya provides. And just his ability to like reposition and take control of an area feels so great. Going in on Magnusade may not be able to get the kill as he gets away with the unstoppable bike.
Yeah, Binbins is just bullying right now. He's in a very good position. He's already scaled on the Enad build, and it's very early on into the game. So this is an exceptional pivot from Binbins that might be able to secure their safety in this game and in this lobby to make it to the final. As a verse goes on to suddenly Rats, and he's so good with his movement, just juking and jiving out of there, gets away from a verse and should be able to fully get out of that as Sleeping Lion takes down Passant. Passant was one of the big bullies of the lobby, but does actually go down. We are going to have even more fights. Ratjammer going on to a verse, but the teleport goes away. Ratjammer maybe not done just yet. Continuing to chase down. We'll see if Sleeping Lion sniffs this out and decides to join the fray as a verse teleports into the mini-mart. Going to be getting away from this one. Looks like Magnus Ape just on the outskirts, not trying to fight just yet. And a verse potentially just going to look to teleport out of here.
Probably heading to forest. We do see Wick Line spawning up. Dryjammer's going to get a little bit of damage, but there's no reason to cancel the teleport. It's not that big of a threat. Finish it out and just hope you don't end up teleporting on top of someone. Superior here has Rengar Oscar on top of him, but the polymorph down with the Caltraps makes it a little easier for him to get away. Teska coming in from the other side. They may end up looking for this fight while Average gets a free Wick.
Yeah, Averse may be going for that Wick. We see Teska go on to Superior, but doesn't actually chase it down. Averse has pulled the Wick, is going to try and get this straight away, but Teska may be able to join this and interrupt. Potentially either go for a Wick steal or for a fight overall. Just going to hide in the bush. And actually, we may see a verse face check into Teska, but Teska decides they don't want it. As Magnusade getting chased down by the other motorcycle user, almost gets sniped down, but Magnusade has just enough HP. Going to escape with that one, but is going to be hemorrhaging timer right now as they do rest in the red.
Oh yeah, and it's very risky, and I think a lot of the rest was because he knows Sleeping Lion is cycling back over here like we're seeing right now, not going to let him go because he has that movement speed to chase it down.
Yeah, that should be able to just be the kill. Magnusape going to give up on that one, knows he's beat. Sleeping Lion picking up kill number 3, just dominating this lobby so far. Averse finally able to pick up the Wick, but actually Teska is contesting. Should be able to just run away from this one. Averse going to grab it and potentially still fight while he does have these charms orbiting around him for now, but does pick up the Wick loot, the Wick buff, and will be getting out with their life.
That might be a question. Do we know that he picked it up? Because I wasn't actually sure. Teska may have been able to sneak it out while he had weapon skill up. And I feel like Averse would have probably made Hermes by now if he had it available, but I could be wrong.
He's got the buff. I don't know if maybe Teska sniped the loot is possible, because I see here, I mean, we've got the buff here on Averse.
Right.
So we know he's got the buff, but you are right. He could have actually snuck that loot out, and Teska maybe has it. We'll see if he crafts anything either. Looks like neither of them have the crafts, maybe just missing the extra components that are necessary for the crafts that they're looking for.
That could be it. From here, Edam looks like he may be going down, does drop his ultimate.
Yeah, the Enads fighting against each other, but the ISOL is just much stronger right now. The Wonderful Tonight completed, but Binbins is just so incredibly strong with this build. Does land the root onto Teska, and we'll see if he has enough shred. There's no vision just yet. Trying to get the D skill down. The knockback, the mini stuns, not quite enough. Eska falling very low. We see suddenly Rats being chased down, and that's another kill for Sleeping Lion, picking up his fourth.
Consecutively eliminating survivors.
Man, it feels like Sleeping Lion is really popping off this game. 4 kills, being able to chase down really anyone he wants to. Averse over here, maybe going on the Yidam. He does have the Wickle buff, so Yidam could be in a risky spot.
Yeah, could be in a risky spot. Binbin's fighting up against Superior as well. A lot of fighting going on in Chapel, but I think all the noise pings are scaring everybody away. No one wants to fully take the fight. Averse, though, maybe having the full combo up, gonna go in on Binbin. This is maybe the biggest threat in the lobby. That is Binbin's right now. But Eden going to join in and maybe take down big threat 1 and 2 as Averse has to kite away. Eden almost making the biggest play of this game, taking down 2 of the strongest members, but Averse should be able to find the escape over the wall. Now just looking at some of these Claymores, gonna get stunned up, and Sleeping Lion is there to pick up the kill. That's number 5 for Sleeping Lion, and Wick buff down will be able to pick up some of those components, because I do think that Averse was just missing some of their components needed to complete the items. So we might be seeing Sleeping Lion finish a couple of Force Core items and the like in the coming seconds here.
Definitely could be. Really sad for Reverse, teleporting into a literal minefield with Sleeping Lion having ownership of that camera, so he was able to get the vision of Reverse and know that this was a kill that he'd be able to follow up on. And that's just one of those times where it's like, keep your eye on the map. You never know who's going to pop into your vision range that you may be able to chase down.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, 2 of the biggest threats. Averse and Binbins are down. Sleeping Lion now remains as just the scariest player left, as the Jackies are kind of doing a conga line through forest, potentially moving on. We do see Fragarak on Keska, was able to grab that, potentially stole the Force Core actually, and was able to get that Fragarak, because we were talking about who actually got the loot from that Wick. That is possible that this is a Force Core from the Wick that made that Fragarak.
And that frag is going to make a big difference. Actor that is paid, going down to Sleeping Lion. Almost missed it. Sleeping Lion's empowered auto just doing so much damage onto the actor that is paid in one shot.
Yeah, Sleeping Lion on 19 mastery, the highest in the lobby already. Almost capped at this point in the game. Yidam with the Enad going to take down Keska, so that Fragarak is offline. We will potentially see Ratjammer come in and pick that one up, try and be a little bit stronger going into the later stages of the game. But for now, they are just going to pop that Chainsaw Massacre, trying to take down Yidam, but they are getting out-traded currently, as we have Rengar Oscar taking down Superior on the other side of the map here in Beach. It's going to be Sleeping Lion continuing to chase in, not having a ton of fuel available to them, but trying to get onto Ratjammer, trying to force them into the red. 1 or 2 more autos might do it. The snipe down does not connect with the Q or the wall, and the E is not going to land from distance. Not enough fuel to really chase down, and Ratjammer may be able to get out of this one. Potentially, we'll see them come back for that Fragarak as well if they can escape Sleeping Lion. But we are on the bike. We are chasing past. Does check the bush. Does find Ratjammer. And that is kill number 7 for Sleeping Lion. Only 3 remain going into day number 4. Or night 4.
I think this might be the highest kill lead we've seen all day. And let me tell you, he's really just putting on the pressure at this point. We've seen constantly like 5-7 man temp zones. But now we may not even go to temporary zone. This game may be over at final, if not earlier, with only 3 people remaining. Rengar Oscar does have the damage to possibly be able to turn this on Sleeping Lion. Yidam as well, so I won't say that he's won just yet, but definitely slated for first.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that both of these characters that are left actually will have a reasonable shot, because of the fact that they both are just absolute massive amounts of firepower built into these characters. This is going to be a Fiora and an Enad Heart. They do so much damage. If Sleeping Lion walks in between the 2 of them and they both hit the Sylvia at the same time, I think even though this is EOD suit, Mithril Helm, this is a very tanky Sylvia, they're just going to disappear. I mean, this is just an insane amount of damage between these 2 characters.
Oh, yeah. As I was saying before, Enad reduction is going to be a very big thing against Yidam right now. Sleeping Lion does have a little bit of it, but really not enough. I don't think I would change anything else about the build. Maybe obviously throwing on something like auto arms if I could, but you can't always get that right. Rengar Oscar, though, doesn't seem like he's been able to get one of his rare components. Still sitting on the Durandal, not having the Meteor Claymore, not having the Joyus. And that's kind of a sad thing to see, because those rare items really are what helps transition to the late game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is going to be the thing holding Rengar Oscar back in these final moments of the game. We look at Mastery, you know, the Fiora has 18. This is going to be a very powerful Fiora. Sleeping Lion's capped here at 20, and Yeedam is a little bit behind, but this is an Enad Heart with a very strong build. It's still going to be chunking out, and the Charm is going to be upgraded with that 14. So that is the big, you know, break point that we need to look at. Granted, 5 levels of Mastery is going to make a difference. That is going to make it rough for Yeedam, but there is the opportunity to still third party if these two melees are going at it, as we do have Rengar Oscar still in the red, going to be losing a little bit of timer here as we move towards these temp zones, finally coming up in about 45 seconds. Sleeping Lion going to check into Rengar Oscar, going to put a little bit of damage, but we see the trade back, the Fiora going in, and you can see how much damage this Fiora can do straight away with that chunk, and we'll have to see if Sleeping Lion can hold on.
Definitely. One quick thing that we may not have noticed is there was a little bit of itemization from Oscar. He has opted to throw in the box for a little more HP. We are seeing the fight go down between Yeedam and Sleeping Lion.
Yeah.
Yeedam dropping low, drops the ultimate. He may survive, but at this point he's got the Fiora right next to him, has a bunch of damage.
Yep, lands the Charm and the Showstopper to get away, but now Rengar Oscar tries to commit onto Yeedam, and that may spell disaster. Going to fall down, and now Sleeping Lion might just be cleaning everything up for a 9-kill first. It is only the Enad Heart remaining. He has a massive Mastery advantage, 20-16, and this is a very squishy Enad Heart with no Showstopper, and Sleeping Lion has full fuel. I think this should be an easy cleanup, a victory lap for the Sylvia going around the racetrack, and we'll see if Sleeping Lion can take control. We already see the fire traps coming down, the zone control entirely in hand for Sleeping Lion. I don't know if there's enough timer for Yeedam to wait out Showstopper. That might be the only chance to try and win this, but we are going to see the Heart approaching the final zone. 3 seconds left before timer starts ticking. And we're going to see 50 seconds left for Yeedam. They could stall out for Showstopper, but they are going to play footsies in the zone with Sleeping Lion. Going to start trading back, but that is going to be the motorcycle coming in. And Sleeping Lion just does so much damage right now as he goes on to Yeedam. Going to be taking very little from the Heart right now. Just the Mastery difference is immense, and even though we see the Showstopper come out, we see the Heart actually pumping out a lot of damage onto this Sylvia. It is not quite going to be enough, and Sleeping Lion with an absolute pop-off performance in game number 3 to qualify themselves for the final is going for a 9-kill first.
Really great performance. And to be honest, something that's interesting about this, if I was one of the other competitors in this lobby, I would actually be very happy to see this. Sleeping Lion soaking up that much kill points makes it a lot easier for the rest of the lobby to possibly qualify with kind of like below average placement or below average kill participation. And it just really does give other people that chance to kind of pull in, you know, because if you die early in this game, for instance, such as Lily Dongo, but had decent placement and kills for the other games, it just makes it so that everyone else got very few points this game and was able to actually, like, possibly solidify themselves moving on. Rengar Oscar doing really well this game, as well as Yeedam. Great placements between all of them, and I'm really excited to see who exactly it is that moves on.
Yeah, we will be just waiting for those results from our admins, but I'm right there with you. I'm kind of on the edge of my seat to see who actually made those final few placements, because we can have a pretty good idea of who some of the guaranteed ones are, right? You know, it's like a Verse. He won the first 2 games. He's definitely in there. Sleeping Lion, 9-kill first. There's no way he doesn't top 9 with that, right? Someone like Tesca has been, I believe, top 9, top 8 every single one of these games. Probably has made it in. Superior as well, right? But it's when we get to the nitty gritty, we get those last couple placements, right? Yeedam and Rengar Oscar probably in, but who's going to grab that last position? Is it Binbins? Is it Lily Dongo? I mean, is it Magnus Ape? Is it Passant? Passant, not great placements, but a lot of kills. Who are going to grab those last few positions and have that shot in the finals?
That's a very good point to bring up. At this point, I would be surprised, of course, Sleeping Lion and Averse being the main 2 people that we're going to see moving on. But from there, it's going to be kind of hard to call. Actor That Is Paid had pretty decent placements in a few games. Tesco, of course, was able to get 5 kills on one of the other games. Second place doing really well. Third place in another. I would think Tesco is actually going to be able to slot himself pretty well here. One thing I wanted to bring up, I'm not the kind of person who likes to focus on negatives and say like, oh, this player did bad or this player did whatever. But who do you think actually showed wasn't like the top performance, but actually just did really well across the board? For instance, Binbins, showing great character diversity, playing really well in all of his games, and just showing that like they do have the tools to be able to pilot different characters at the same level.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think Bin Bin's I really like this pivot as well. I'm really big on that. I think that this potentially is going to help him out. I think Bin Bin's didn't have great game 1 or 2. This is a kill. This is a 9th place. This is potential to try and come back a little bit in the points. And it does look like we have a little bit of delay on the scoring overall. So I'm going to see exactly how we want to manage that, because we are going to send you guys over to MichaelUdall for the finals after this one. And it does look like there is a quick update from the admin team that the finals will be 4 rounds instead of 5, so that there is plenty of time for everyone to make it to the ERCL duo tournament later on today.
Oh yeah, the duos tournament is going to be exciting. Duos is by far my favorite event.
Oh, my favorite mode as
like
well.
Format.
I'm with you. Yeah.
But at the same time, this is a 30K tournament, so I don't want to like shift over to that too much. But I'm loving this, to be honest. This has been a great time. The games are great. I love the cast. I love the community. Just to be able to see these people play at this level and constantly like get rewarded for it in the sense of the prizes that are being given to us by challenger mode and such. I think it's just such a nice opportunity to have,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that I'm really happy that we got Challenger Mode sponsoring this. I think, it's a great platform, putting together tournaments and coming in and supporting the ERBS community. 30K also, I mean, I've known Michael forever, back from the hot scene, and I'm really excited with what he's doing with 30K in this org, and I'm glad that they're throwing tournaments. I think this is a great time and awesome to see. Still waiting on this score sheet update. Potentially might just be good for me to toss it over to Michael, and we'll just let him talk about who made it to the final. Let me just check with the admins real quick.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's terrible at all.
All right. Yep. Just gonna be waiting on a response from the admin team overall. But thank you all for chilling in here and watching. Excited to participate in this. It's been a lot of fun. I think that was the last game that we'll be casting today, but we will be having more over on Michael's channel. Sending that over to them in just a moment. Just figuring out if we can get the scores or not.
So in the meantime, Casanova, you stream yourself as well, right?
Very rarely. So I now work I work as a broadcast producer over at Wisdom, and I work as a commentator for multiple games, primarily right now Legends of Runeterra, ERBS, of course. Occasionally we'll get some League of Legends, we'll get some TFT, we'll get just really anything people wanna hire me for. I'll go and do work, try and work a wide variety of games. So I haven't had a lot of time to stream myself, but I do use this channel primarily for tournaments. So I'll come in and stream some tournaments. So if you do want to catch ERBS tournaments in general, or really just any game tournaments, recently it's only been ERBS, yeah, drop the follow. That's what you'll be finding here on this channel. So if you're looking for competitive action and you want to know when I'm live, follow me here on the old Twitter that's below my name. But Motif, do you stream as well? I haven't had the pleasure to catch a lot of your streams myself, but I would love to if you are someone who has been streaming and creating content.
Yeah, so I do stream every Tuesday through Saturday, 2 p.m. PST to 7 p.m. PST is my normal schedule. I focus on educational content. For instance, I do sub coaching for Eternal Return every Saturday, where we'll just sit down with people in Discord, kind of coach them through and say hey, these are the mistakes you're making, these are things I would alter for your stuff. But at the same time, I'm a theory crafter at heart, right? I love to just sit down every patch and take things that were buffed or changed and just really try to push it to its limits and say how viable will this actually be now? For instance, lately I've been practicing a lot of Regen Magnus. It's a new build that's coming back to light again, and it may not be the pinnacle of play, but I think it could be viable again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's awesome to hear. Definitely everybody check out Motif's channel over at Motif Games, or MOTF Games. Thank you so much for coming on the show with me today. It's been a lot of fun. I know we've never gotten to work together before, but maybe we can work together again in the future on some more ERBS. It was a lot of fun, my dude, and These were some really great games. I can't wait for the final, but we're actually going to send it over to Michael for the final. That's where you'll be able to see the results as well from this semifinal, as those are still being calculated. But you know, we're not going to stick around too much longer. We'll let Michael handle all that cool stuff. We'll let him hype it up over there, and make sure to go give him some love and go check out the finals. But thank you all so much for watching. Stick around, go check out Mike's stream. We're going to be rating in, and I'll see you guys later.